Namaste, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening for another session of Yoga Insights. So this evening's session is going to be hosted by Dr. Nidhi Choudhary, who is the founder of Yoga Plus, and she has a very in-depth knowledge on yoga for women's health. Dr. Nidhi has championed yoga programs at many infertility and PCOS clinics, and she has helped several patients while mentoring postgraduate and doctoral research activities at the S. Vyasa Yoga University, which is among the best yoga research institutions in the world. So today, Dr. Nidhi will be teaching us how to use props in our yoga practice and asana practice based on the BKS Iyengar system. So Dr. Nidhi, would you like to join us, please? Namaste, Dr. Nidhi.
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
Thank
Namaste.
you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining Indica Yoga for this session. So I'm going to hand over this session to you now, and I'll see you at the end for the round of Q&A. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you. So good evening, everyone. I hope you all are enjoying your evening. So my session today is about use of yoga props in yoga practice or yoga asana practice. And there are a lot of people who believe or who we interact with today who think that yoga props are to gain flexibility or to achieve difficult postures or difficult asanas, but it wasn't intended to be so. So BKS Iyengar, Guruji, who invented all the yoga props initially, he actually invented it for the purpose of yoga therapy. He wanted to use, or he used to think of different ways how we can get a person in a perfect alignment, which will help improve their physiology, the internal organs to function better. And over a period of time, that should help in self-healing. But we are also aware that BKS Iyengar ji is the person who took yoga from India to the Western world. And today, somehow it has reached to a state where new practitioners who are coming in the field of yoga, they are seeing props only used for the purpose of flexibility or to reach to a certain postures or certain asanas. So I'm going to take you through some very basic use of these props. The most important props which Guruji gave us was, one is the chair, the metal chair, which is quite heavy and sturdy, not the light ones, because it need to bear our weight and we should be able to push it with full strength. And the props are the wooden blocks as well as the cotton rope and the bolsters. So there's a use of bolsters in blankets as well. So these are the basic props which Guruji invented. And after that, there has been many others for a specific set of reasons. So I'm going to use these ones. I'm going to use the chair, the block, and the belt and bolster, and probably a blanket. If you have it available with you, you can try doing the pose along with me to understand the difference, how you doing a posture without the props, how does it feel? And doing a posture with the props, how does it make us understand our alignment, our posture, and how the prana flows in the body when your joints and muscles are perfectly aligned. So it really makes a big difference in our own practice, on and off, to try to do it along with the props and try to understand what the perfection might look like or feel internally, and then try to achieve it without the props as well. So I'm going to take you with some basic things. The first thing, many people who come to the yoga classes or yoga sessions, there are issues like bow shoulders or the upper back hunch, things like bow legs, where the knees are quite wide apart, although the ankles are coming closer. Things like a tight pelvis, because of which widening of the legs in certain postures is not possible by the person. Things like shallow thorax means the person is not able to lift the spine and open the chest, which is very necessary for a deep breathing. And once that deep and relaxed breathing comes, automatically your mind starts to calm down. So props were by Guruji was not just invented for asana practice. They were also very much part of pranayama and meditation practice. Because when you have to sit for a long duration and we don't have the practice of sitting with our lumbar straight, chest open, shoulders back, which is the basic requirement to do any pranayama or any meditation practice. So we use props like bolster or blankets or blocks with a wall support, help with the belt to get the person's spine on lungs, spine straight and lungs open, and then ask them to sit and do pranayama a few rounds, and post that we try to take them into a meditation session or meditation practice, which makes a really huge difference. Just you can tell it by experience. You don't have to believe in somebody's word. You can just give it a try and see how much difference that does that make to your practice. Let me just show you some usage of the props. Let's start. I'm going to begin with the belt. So this is the belt which comes from the Iyengar Yoga. It's supposed to be opened like this. You need to have the buckle at the end, buckle with a metal plate in between. And if it doesn't have that, you won't be able to use for many of the poses. And we generally prefer the cotton belts as compared to the plastic or the rubber ones or the stretchable ones which are available. So, as I was telling, the first condition I'm going to target is the hunch in the upper back. If it is like this, and the person, however much you instruct, however much you suggest them that you need to stand straight, you need to open your chest, you need to roll your shoulders back in. Sometimes these yoga phrases or yoga class terms are not understandable by the new practitioners who doesn't have an experience of that. So this really helps. You can try if you have a belt with you, and you can see how it feels. You need to take the belt and put it just below your shoulder blades. Where your shoulder blades are ending, that's where you're going to place the belt. Then the loose ends will come to the front, and you're going to throw it up to your shoulders like this, so that you are rolling it around under your armpit, and then from on top of the shoulders, it is dropping down back. Now behind, you're going to hold the loose ends of the belt and take it in opposite hands. So you are holding the right end of the belt in your left hand and left end of the belt in your right hand. Once you get that grip, make sure that it doesn't slip off your shoulders. The belt should not fall off your shoulders. So hold it tightly and then try to pull the belt down. And you see what it does to the back. While you are doing that, suck your stomach in. Keep sucking your stomach in and keep pulling the belt down. When you do that, you automatically come into a straight lumbar, straight spine, shoulders rolling back, shoulder blades tucking in, and chest open. This is, now you cannot do the asanas with this, but this helps if you get the person to stand here for a few seconds and ask them to understand how it feels, how is it feeling in your stomach, how much space you are feeling in your organs, how much space you can feel for your diaphragm, for your lungs, how your shoulders are feeling, how your shoulder blades, upper back is feeling. And the most common mistake here would be, as soon as they start pulling the belt down, they should not start bulging the stomach. So keep the stomach in, suck your stomach in, and pull the belt down. Okay, so this is one of the simplest, but I feel very, very effective, especially for people who are sitting in on a desk job, without their conscious knowledge, they would start going like this, and they need to on and off straighten their spine and roll the shoulder back, because over a long period of time, if you are not having this posture, straight back, chest open, rolled shoulder, your breathing will keep on getting from deeper to the shallower levels. It will keep on becoming shorter and shorter and shorter, because there is no space for the lungs to open. There's no space for the chest to take a deep inhalation. So you need to do this quite often to remind yourself, okay, this is where I should be. Now, the second thing is the next posture, as I'm seeing a lot of patients or a lot of students with bow legs, where if they stand, their knees are not able to come closer, which is again a problem by habit, or problem from the childhood, something which they never noticed or tried to reverse. So even people who really don't have a big bow, if you ask a normal straight leg looking person to do Tadasana and try to bring their knees and ankles together both at the same time, very less number of people actually are able to do that. So everybody is, or most of the people are having a partial bow in their knee joint. And you need to just imagine, what does that do to your body? If I'm bringing my ankles together, but my knees are wide apart, that means my knee joint is not aligning with my thigh bone to my shin bone to my foot joints, metatarsals and tarsals. So if something like that is happening over a period of time or over a few years, these people would start having issues with either the knee joint will start hurting, or issues either with the ankle, because your joint cannot bear your body weight if it is perfectly without a pain, if it's not aligned correctly. So you can see it around. How many people can stand in Tadasana where their feet are flat and they are not standing on any edge of the foot, like standing on the outer edge of the foot or the inner edge of the foot, or standing on the toes or standing on the heels. And they are able to bring their ankles completely together as well as their knees touching together. Now, if they have a bow, and however much we are explaining them, bring your knees together, stand in a straight line, how do we help them? So you need a small towel or a blanket, something which is not too big. Let me get some towels. And you need to roll it for your leg length. So like this, not a very wide roll. Something like this. Now ask the person to sit in Dandasana with legs straight. Use the block in between the ankles so that your ankles don't go any further closer. And use the towel in between the leg, in between the knees. Keep the block in between the ankle. Ask the person to press on to the block. And then you can use 2 or 3 belts. You probably would require 2 or 3 belts. The first one would go above the knee joint at the thigh level. Like this. I'm going to put it around the buckle and tighten it as much as possible. Really, really tight. Whatever the maximum the person can bear. Whenever you're doing this thing, don't put the buckle on the skin, because you won't be able to pull it really tight if the buckle is pinching on to the skin. So keep the buckle in the middle. So this will be one belt which will bring the thigh closer. I'm just using the same belt. I'm not tying myself up. The other belt would be under the knee joint. So you're going to put the first belt above the knee, the second belt below the knee like this, and another one will be above the ankle. Third belt somewhere down. And ask the person to keep pressing on to the inner edge of the big toe. So to make sure that they are not bringing the leg closer, but their legs are like misaligned, you need to get the person's knee and ankle and toes in same line. And for that, it's very important that they stretch the foot straight out and they bring the inner edge of the big toe to the block tightly. They have to put effort in pressing this inner edge of the big toe onto the block as much as they can, while you're going to help with the belt to roll these muscles in, bringing the knees closer. And then you would be able to see that the bow-like person also would be able to sit quite straight with their legs perfectly aligned. So these are the 2 basic things which I think should help every person when they are starting their yoga journey or yoga classes. Because once you correct these 2, and once you learn the importance of a straight spine, rolled shoulders, and straight legs, it's going to help in all the postures you do after that. Whether you're doing Surya Namaskara or any form of asanas, it is really going to be useful. But if this is not taught and directly asanas, standing postures, sitting postures, Surya Namaskara, all of that is taught, maybe it's not going to help the person to feel what they are supposed to experience in those postures or asanas. Now, the next set of poses. So this was just for the body alignment, how it helps the use of props for getting a perfect alignment to help the physiology, not the asana, to help the person's physiology, to help their prana flow in that posture, and to help them to experience the perfect pose. So how it feels inside, not how it looks outside. Then the second use of props is to be able to do the postures which you have been practicing, but due to, like I said, tight pelvis or pelvic region is not opening as it's supposed to in certain standing postures. Uh, for such things, how you can use the props to get you into that position. So I'm going to talk about some standing postures like Trikonasana and Virabhadrasana or Parshvakonasana. And I'll be using the block and maybe also the belt to demonstrate that. We'll be going close to a wall this time, or the cupboard, anything. So we're going to shift the mat here. Now, before I start showing the use of the props, first I'll demonstrate what would it look like when there is an issue, when the same posture is done without the props. So maybe I may not be able to do it so wrong. I'll try to do justice. So spread your legs as wide as your leg length. Then turn the right foot out to the right side. Now, if we are asking the person to go into Virabhadrasana or Parshvakonasana, we would be instructing them to bend the knee. Now, if the person's pelvis is too tight, what would happen when we ask the person to bend the knee? They won't be able to bend it too far. And it may look like they have bent the knee, but it is not looking, the thigh is not coming parallel to the ground as it should be. Now, if we ask the person to, that, okay, you need to go more down, push the back leg back like this, then their knee stopped to bend as much as it was, because both the legs are getting pulled by a tighter pelvic region. They are not, this is not ready to open. And so the person may not be able to open the legs as expected or bend the knee as expected. Now, to counteract that, how we can use the blocks. You need to place the blocks to the wall. And I'm using 2 blocks. If the person has like not so much tight pelvis, maybe 1 block. If the person has 2 tight pelvis and they are struggling in these postures, then 2 blocks. And then ask the person to spread the legs apart. Take the left foot on top of the block and then bend the knee. Take it closer to the wall. Now, even if they are bringing it closer, still they would be able to bring their knee in line with the ankle, and they would be able to get the thigh parallel to the ground. Now, over a period of time, the target would be to spread this leg as far as you can slowly, but you are getting the alignment because of the use of the blocks here. Then similarly in Trikonasana, if we are doing triangle pose, I'm going to use one block and place it outside my right ankle. So the block is outside the ankle. Now, some people try to achieve, again, I'll show you first the what usually happens. If we ask the person to take the hand down and touch the ground or touch the ankle, what happens is slowly the left buttock start to go forward because this is not widening as expected, or they don't realize the awareness is not in all parts of the body as expected. The focus shifts on bringing the hand down, and that's where the instructions from the teacher actually plays the role. If the teacher keeps on saying that you need to touch the hand down, the student's awareness goes to that spot. And because they are so focused there, they forget what's happening to the back of the body, which I'm not seeing, where I'm not looking. So the tendency is that this buttock will start moving forward, or sometime that outer edge of the left foot would start lifting up. It will not even be touching the ground in some cases. And whenever such a things happen, it will start putting load onto your other joints. It is taking from this side, but it will start loading either onto your front knee, front ankle, and it is going to cause pain over a period of time. So if your hand is not reaching, if your body is not that flexible, you can just keep a block and place your palm onto the block. Make sure that your chest is open, facing the front. You are not dropping it, not facing down, not facing the ground, because you can stay in the pose, take a deep breath only if you are keeping your lungs open. And when you are able to breathe deeply, then only you will be able to hold that pose for longer duration, and you will allow the prana to flow perfectly in that alignment. Otherwise, the practice becomes only at the muscular level, or even at that level, some struggle, which is not helping the therapeutic gain of that posture. So one thing is that you can probably use the block to keep your hand down and make sure that your chest is open to the front. Second thing, if you feel your buttock is going to, left buttock is moving forward, either you could have practice close to a window so that you can put the belt from your left thigh to the window behind you, and that will not let you fall forward. Or something like this, that you place the belt on your thigh, making sure that your buttock doesn't come forward. Hold it in the opposite hand, pull in this hand while you are taking this hand down, and do Trikonasana. Now this way, your chest is also open, your pelvis is also open, you don't require assistance. You can do it yourself. Breathe in, come up, breathe out, and release. So this is how it can help in most standing postures. If you can get your knees, ankles, pelvis aligned, your legs will be functioning much better in all the standing postures, and you would be able to see the difference, experience the difference very soon. Now, the next posture, I'm going to take the chair. And this is for the twisting purpose. And let me show you on one of the twisting without the chair first. So common Vakrasana, in Dandasana, with both the legs are straight in front, back is straight. Bend your right knee. Place your right knee next to your left thigh. Take your right arm back. Breathe in, stretch your left arm up. Breathe out, tuck your elbow outside the knee. And try to twist your spine as much as possible. Looking back. Now, while you do that, most of the people have a struggle that their stomach is getting pressed onto the thigh. There is no space for the stomach to roll or turn, because of which the spine is not able to achieve the twist which it should have. Now, why is that getting stuck onto my thigh? If I could use my fingertips and lift my spine up, I would be able to turn much better and still have a space between my stomach and thigh. But then most of the people, this keeping the spine up is the most difficult challenge, and it becomes more so when you are sitting on the ground. When you are sitting something like Dandasana, sitting with the legs straight and lifting your spine itself is a challenge because of the base. So how do you get the perfect twist? How do you get your spine to twist as much as expected? The easier version is to do it on the chair. And why does that help? Because I'm not sitting, my buttock and my foot is not at the same level, which is challenging for most of the people now. If I have my buttock at a higher level and foot at the lower level, it makes it easy for me to sit and for everybody to keep their spine straight. So how do we do the twisting here? You need to sit with your feet and knees little apart, and you should be facing the side, not the front of the chair. You need to be facing the side of the chair. Now, when you do this pose, you can either go close to a wall or you can place a block to ensure that you are not pulling your right knee in and left knee out, or right foot in and left foot out. They need to stay in this alignment all the time. So throughout the practice, both the toes should be in the same line, both the knees should be in the same line. And if you place the block, it won't let your body to adjust. Now sit in this position, place your arms, take it from top, not from down, because you want your spine to lift up, your chest to open, your shoulders to be wide. And that's why you want it from the top, and hold the top of the chair, the back of the chair. Don't hold the side. Place it somewhere on the top. Bend your elbows. Make sure that your knees and toes are not readjusting. Breathe out, suck your stomach in, and turn. Turn as much as you can. Look back. Breathe in, come back. Relax. And if you have ever done a twisting on the Invakrasana or the Matsyendrasana, any postures at the ground level, and if you try this, you could really feel a difference in how much space you have created from here to here, and how much freely you are able to turn without creating a friction in the body parts. I'll just show it from other side so that place the block in between your feet. Make sure your toes, your knees are in same line. Breathe in, lift your arms, place it on the top. Breathe out, suck your stomach in and twist. Look back. Breathe in, come back. Breathe out and release. I'm going to take you for one more use of props. So I talked about correcting the misalignments in the body. Then I talked about if your body is not so flexible, then how do you achieve the correct alignment with the use of the props. And the third use of props is for restorative poses that I want to give time. I want to stay in that pose, but I probably don't have the strength. My muscles may not be able to bear a backward bend for long. My muscles may not be able to bear a chest opening or an inversion for 10 minutes because I don't have that strength. But I would prefer to stay there and enjoy to stay in that pose for its benefits, like deeper breathing, a feeling of peace and gratitude at heart, or a blood circulation rushing to my head, or a feeling of relaxed muscles at a pelvic region. There's so many benefits if you can stay in those poses. But if I don't have my muscle strength, I can't stay there for long. So how can we use the props to get into some sort of where we stay in the poses from practice of a day. So I'm going to show one simple pose using chair, bolster, and blanket. If you are too tight, you may require two bolsters, one on top of the other, stacked. If not, then one bolster, one blanket should do. But I would suggest not to try any of this with a plastic or lightweight chair. It has to be done with these heavy metal sturdier chairs only. So you're going to sit facing the back of the chair. You're going to go in, sit inward on the chair seat, and you're going to slowly, holding the side bars of the chair, you're going to slowly lie down. Once you have reached your blanket, just rest your arm by the sides. Now, this much chest opening, chin lock or bandha, along with the back stretch, if I have to achieve in an active practice, I might find a struggle in it. I might find it very difficult. But in a passive restorative practice, because I'm using the props, I can stay here for quite some time. Deep breathing. Once you are ready to come, either you're going to hold the bar of the chair and pull yourself up with resting your elbows on the seat. And then once you come back up, you should not sit straight because you have been in a very deep stretch. You will feel giddy. So you should rest your forehead on the arms and stay here. Complementary forward. If pulling yourself up like this is very difficult, then the other option which we usually give to the patients or people is to slide your buttock down and bring your buttock down here and try to roll down on the mat. Both ways are okay. It doesn't make any difference. Whichever the person can do, can try. But staying with the props in that posture really helps. Chin at your neck. So maybe I can take is use of the belt. There are multiple postures, multiple ways how we can use the props. It's just the time limitation that we can't do many. So I'm taking as much variety as possible. Now, many people who've been doing Nokasana, Navasana, they find it difficult. They may not be able to hold, or they may not be able to just lift your spine is difficult. So one simple use, which I really enjoy in this pose, is the use of belt. I'm going to make a big loop. And you're going to wear it from your feet to under your shoulder blades. Like this, make it tight, push your feet so that the belt becomes tight. And then you can just keep your palms here and lift your legs, straighten them out. Now what the belt does is it can stretch your legs perfectly, as well as it can keep your chest open, shoulders open without using your hands. And you can stay here quite some time because the belt is holding you. It's a perfect pose. Use of the props and the use not get post time for your muscles to memorize that alignment, that posture, so that the effect can continue after the practice. And over a few years, you start remembering them even when you are not doing yoga. And it really helps you through the rest of the day, through your alignments, through your aches and pains and medical conditions that you are facing. You would be able to utilize this knowledge, experiential knowledge into helping your body So I would invite Sophia back into the session to take care of Q&A.
Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Nidhi. That was such a great session. We seem to have a little bit of an internet issue, so I apologize for the buffering, everyone, but I guess these things can't be helped sometimes. But I was watching the session, and I think you can still benefit from this practice because her explanations were there, plus she was visually demonstrating. So I'm sure we've all learned a lot from this session, and also our sessions are recorded, so they will be available on the Indica Yoga YouTube channel as well as our Facebook channel. So you can always come back and access all the information that was shared today. So does anyone have any questions for Dr. Nidhi? Now is the time. We're open for questions and answers. Open for questions, rather. No questions today so far. Okay, maybe they'll come up with it later, but that's how great your session was, Dr. Nidhi. No one has any questions. Okay, so in case anyone wants to get, we have a question here. Let's just address that first. Yes,
Ramki ji, have anything you would like to?
Okay, Ramki ji has a question. Please ask. Okay, so while that question is coming, if any of our participants would like to get in touch with you, Dr. Nidhi, could you share your contact details with us, an email address or a website?
Yes, so my email ID is nidhiyoga@gmail.com, nidhiyoga@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with me through the website yogaplus.info. Or you can connect to me on WhatsApp. My number is 99723 99380.
Thank you so much. Ramki ji, I will email these details to you. If you could just share your email with us, and all of the details are also available on our website. And if you would like to ask your question, meanwhile, we have Ute ji asking, can you show us another exercise to open the chest with props for people who drive a lot?
The same thing, the first pose that I showed with the use of the belt, that is the most ideal one. That you put the belt around your shoulder blade and put it down from top of it. That's the most effective I have found, and simpler, not so complicated, and everybody can do it. It doesn't need to be, even the new person who has never done yoga before can also understand what and how it feels to have perfect, and it would really help you to memorize, so that rest of the day also you can remind yourself, okay, I have to be like this.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nidhi. I think there's some internet issue, but I hope that answer was communicated to Ute ji. Dr. Dr. Nidhi is trying her best, guys. So thank you. Ramki ji is asking, is there a cancer preventive yoga practice?
Cancer preventive?
Yeah.
Okay, so cancer is basically, there is no preventive. We do management based on what type of cancer it is and which body is it brain, is it we try to keep it along with the mainstream medical treatment. So if the person is undergoing chemotherapy, what could be the complement along with that management and better complementary treatment. what we have found over last many years is that it's very much, most of the modern medical research is so focused on the causes for cancer, whether it is BPA in the plastic we are using, whether it is the pollutants in the air, whether it is some genetic inheritance which is coming. So there are a lot of research done on the cause for where it is. Just few years of research, doctors and researchers are actually realizing that even though without all this clear-cut answers, there are certain set of people who end up getting cancers who didn't have any history or medical cause behind it or medical risk behind it. And the treatment as it was expected doesn't work for their body. And lot of the research is now focusing and pointing out that it's actually much to do with the mental mind frame of the person, how they look at the cancer, what fighting spirit or believe in a higher power, belief in a higher power that actually helps the patient to recover faster or come out of it much quickly. And you'll be surprised to know, let me just point that out, one more thing. Recent last 1 decade of research says one thing, if we have to point out one thing which decides who are the people in the world who are staying healthier or who are falling sick compared to who are catching some conditions or falling sick, if we have to just point on one thing, not hundreds of things, lifestyle or diet or amount of exercise I do or chemicals in what I'm exposed to. If I have to point out at one thing, and all of the world's research is pointing out, it's the feeling of gratitude. People who are able to have a feeling of gratitude, they are much, much more healthier as compared to the people who don't have that feeling of gratitude. Even in cancer, we are seeing that people who are fighting it with like it's something a challenge or it's a race, they're not doing that well. People who believe in superpower, higher belief, having a feeling of gratitude with everything around them, they are actually the ones who are doing much better. I hope that gives you an answer.
Thank you so much. We've also had some comments about how wonderful and informative this session was. And since the video is buffering, I just wanted to ask Koti ji, please, I can't seem to access the chat to address everyone. So can we share on the chat box Dr. Nidhi's contact details, please, so all our participants can access it? Koti ji?
Yes, Sophia, I will share the email address of Nidhi.
Yes, please. Nidhi ji's email, and I think also her WhatsApp number, which she shared. Can we share it with all our participants? So even if there are questions, they can get in touch with her directly.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone, it's going to show up in the chat very soon. Do you need the details again, Koti ji?
Yeah, can you please send?
Nidhi ji, can you please repeat?
Yeah, so my email ID is Nidhi Yoga, NIDHIYOGA @gmail.com.
Okay.
And my contact number is 99723 99380.
Great. So this is to all our participants. It's on the chat box, her details, so you can get in touch with Dr. Nidhi directly from there. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm able to see the chat box now.
Oh, okay.
It popped now. Good.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, everyone. Before we bring this session to a closure, we just have a few announcements. So, most exciting announcement being there's a retreat we're planning in Goa. Okay, next week's Yoga Insight session is how interesting, because Dr. Nidhi was just talking about the role of yoga in cancer care, and next week our entire session is going to be focused on the role of role of yoga in cancer care. This session will be conducted by Smita Malaya. So everyone who's interested in this, please join. I think it's a very important session. Thank you so much. Then we have a retreat coming up in Goa in August. This is a week-long retreat from the 28th of August to 3rd September, which Indica Yoga is hosting in collaboration with Hatha Yoga teacher Alisha Netalkar. So details for this can be found on our website, where you can also register for the retreat. And we also have our Yoga Foundation course, which has now moved to 5th to the 14th of September. So there's more time for everyone to register. This will be conducted at the Ritambara retreat in Bangalore. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So these were our announcements, and a big thank you to all of our participants for joining us today. Thank you for your patience with a little bit of internet issues. And also a big thank you to Dr. Nidhi for taking the time out to do this and this amazing demonstration. We all learned so much from it today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there any message you'd like to leave us with before we close the session? Dr. Nidhi?
I think the video was frozen.
Okay, so I would like, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so it is very easy to get the way to trick that. While you try to achieve asanas, don't lose focus from what was the goal for which you were doing the asana practice. Don't get into that it should look this way, I should be able to achieve Shishasana, or I should be able to achieve Vrishchikasana or something, because you can get the benefit of that in a simpler version of pose. You can get the same physiological benefits by doing something much simpler. And why we have to do that is because at the end of my yoga practice or my asana practice, I should not feel exhausted and burnt out. The goal is to feel fresh, to feel energetic, to feel calm, to feel more focused. And if I'm not gaining that, then change your practice, change whatever you are doing, because keep clear that this is what I need to achieve, and whatever postures I do, whatever practice I do, I should feel that at the end of the session. So very, very easily people are getting diverted from that. And I can suggest you from my own experience, I've been doing yoga for almost close to 22 years now. And I went through these phases. It's not that I haven't gone. I have committed the mistake of achieving asanas and getting exhausted and getting burnt out and everything. And now, finally, maybe I'm reaching that level where I should have been long way back. And I understand that, okay, yes, I try for the asana, but I should try for the perfection in my pose, but not at the cost of burning myself down. I'm not able to hear.
So much. Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Nidhi. That was great advice and very important advice also, because it seems to be a problem in today's yoga world. So I hope people listen and heed your good advice. That brings us to the end of our session for this evening. Thank you to all our participants for joining. And once again, Dr. Nidhi, thank you so much for your great advice and the wonderful practice. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see you next Friday for next week's Yoga's Insights. Thank you. Have a beautiful weekend.